All right, we're going to talk plays at the plate. I've had the wonderful privilege of videoing several umpires with their games and watching their footage on how they work the plate, and I still think that there is a need for us to grasp taking plays at the plate. And so that's why I just wanted to kind of review some of these things. So hopefully these are either good reminders for you, or maybe there's an aha moment in here that's going to help you with the situation. So here we go. We have a home plate. Your starting position for a play at the plate needs to be right here. This is what we call point of plate. This is very similar to where you stand to call balls and strikes. And so or if there is a play that is coming your way, don't feel like you have to move just to move. Go ahead and just stay still. Take your mask off, watch the play happen, and then know that, hey, if I need to move, I'm going to start here. This is your starting point. It's not always your finishing point, but it is a great starting point for you. And then when you move, you always want to move, counterclockwise to your right. And don't just move because you want to move. You need to move because the play tells you that you need to move. The catcher is headed in that runner. You think the runner is going to swipe tag or, slide a different portion of the base, all of those fun things. So this green area is where, potential optimum places that a plate umpire should take a play at the plate. And there are exceptions to this, but generally speaking, 98% of the time, you want to find yourself in this position to take a play at the plate, somewhere within this green circle. This red area is absolute no man's land. Please do not make a play at the plate in this red no man's land. When you're standing here, you will never be able to see the full play in its entirety. You're always going to be blocked out of some part of the play, some critical element of the play, and it's going to be critical for you. So we have a couple of mock-ups of things just to kind of help you maybe visualize of where you are. So we talk about taking plays to the plate using the wedge, meaning that you're going to take the fielder who's fielding the ball, the runner who's trying to slide, and the home plate is between them, and you're going to try and look between them. That's what we describe as the wedge. And so here we go. We're going to kind of describe this. So this is a very athletic catcher who catches everything on one foot for some reason. He is starting in a legal position in front of home plate, just like he should. Now we have a runner who is beginning to slide into home plate. So if everything is in, perfect world, this is the point where they are racing to. That is the point that is closest to the runner. That is the shortest distance where he can be safest, the fastest. That is also the same point where the catcher is going to try to catch and tag at, or potentially maybe even have legal possession of the baseball, then block the access to the plate. That's legal. Okay. But that is kind of like the prized spot that we need to watch. Okay. So as this play comes in, our runner is sliding right there. So our wedge is going to be looking into that angle. So if you were to think of where would the plate umpire be? Well, basically he's point of plate, right at the edge of that triangle. He's going to be able to look down through this play and see the tag, the runner, everybody racing to that spot. That is what we call the wedge. Now, let's say that the catcher moves over a little bit. So again, he's still in a legal position. He is not blocking access to the base. He does not have possession. Let's just say he does not have possession of the baseball. This is still a legal position, but it is going to change the way that the runner is most likely going to slide in. Now, the runner is going to be a little wider. He's going to see that the catcher has moved up, and he may, widen out his approach, or he may try a purposeful wider slide. So now instead of that point being the point where everybody is after, now it's really that edge of the plate, maybe even the bottom left, corner of that edge of the plate. That's where they're racing towards. And so we need to be prepared for that. So as the runner slides in on this one, again, he's racing for that corner. Our wedge is not going to be the same. Our wedge now is going to be a little bit more circled around. So if you think back to that first graphic, starting point of plate, and you always want to move, kind of towards your right, counterclockwise there. As you see this play develop, this is where you can step, one or two steps to the right to maintain this wedge look. And so that way you can see all the critical elements looking through the play. Now, let's take the catcher up the line. Let's just say in a perfect scenario, the catcher is still legally up the line. Let's say maybe he's caught the baseball in this one, or maybe, I don't know, like he started legal, and then he is trying to make an athletic, attempt to catch the throw in there, something that we're not going to penalize the catcher for obstruction. Definitely, if the catcher is in this position, he is potentially, liable for obstruction that we would need to be starting to think about. But for this demonstration, let's think no obstruction. This catcher is there legally. And so we can see, again, how the play can develop with the wedge. So our runner in this scenario is going to start even wider than what he is. Or this would be maybe where we have the swim move kind of slide, or a big sweeping, slide where he drags the hand on home plate, something like that. And now the point, again, sinks even further. As the catcher goes up the line or further left, the point where they're racing towards is further down on the plate. Or even in this position, maybe we might even have a tag right there in the batter's box area. Maybe that the runner is that far away from home that is where the swipe tag happens, and we have to be able to be prepared for both of these scenarios as we move up. So again, our wedge changes as the slide happens. Our wedge changes. Look how much difference the wedge is. Now we're going to be taking this play from clear over here, over on the side. We started here and we've swung all the way over now to this position. Now we can't get there instantly. Look, the X is where we started. We don't get there instantly. You have to begin to read the catcher as he moves with the throw, or watch the runner as he's coming in, knowing kind of how these elements are going to play out. Know that, hey, I either could have a swipe tag high up, or I could have a hand dragging the plate really low on home plate. That is my wedge look here. And when you move with this play, there's my arrow. When you move with this play, you're going to see everything just kind of open up like this. If you were to stay at point of plate, as this play happens, you would be looking at, players' rear ends and legs and shoulders and everything. You wouldn't be able to see anything. If you were over here, first base extended, again, you would be able to see the runner sliding through your field of vision very well, but the runner would block. Did he tag him or not? We don't know, because you're not looking through the play. So that's why, again, we want to stay where the wedge is so we can look through the play as this one happens. So I had a really good play at the plate that I wanted to show you and walk you through this again, so that way we can, again, see how this develops and things. So here we go.
The ball! He's out!
And I bring this up to you because, quite literally, I'm going to go backwards a slide. This play is this formation right here. This play that I just had is this exact situation where the catcher was very high up on the line, the runner was sliding way wide, and we had a swipe tag actually before the runner got to the plate. Okay, so let's see this in action. So the pitch comes in. I'm going to leave. The pitch comes in. I start point of plate. Mask is off with my left hand. That little stutter step was like, okay, I'm beginning to think of what might happen ahead. Okay, so catcher comes up. The catcher is legal. Look. The catcher is fully legal in this situation. He is giving up the entire base path from where the runner is, so that he can slide in home. There is no obstruction here, not even a hint of obstruction. Great job by the catcher of knowing what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. And then there's, again, another step aside. But look, I'm moving laterally and trying my best to keep my head still as this play happens. So here we go. We now have a tag that is away from home plate, and I am standing inside, just inside the left-handed batter's box. And I get my head around, I get still, see all the elements of the play finish up, and then I have an out. But look where I start. I start here, that's point of plate, and look where I finish. This is how you want to take a swipe tag play at home plate. If I were to stay here in this spot, think of that. Look where if I were to have stayed right here where I was, looking through this play, I would not be able to see the tag because where the runner is. I would be blocked out. If I had taken a step left and stood right here, This is what the old school, older way we used to be. This was called first baseline extended, and this was instructed once upon a time. If I were to have stood there, same thing would have happened. I would not have been able to see. Um, I would have not been able to see the tag applied on the runner, and so the only way you can see this is by looking at this one through the wedge. And so this play just happened and opened up really nicely to me, and just highlights that, hey, when plays of the plate happen, you have to be willing to move to get to the right position. But it's not just moving, it's knowing where to start and then knowing where to end up. Let's watch this one more time.
The ball! He's out.